Hey everybody, so January is over and it's time to look at the games that we played during the month of January and see which one made the top 9. So before we get into that, let's look at the stats. In January, I've played 32 different games, and that was 32 different times with 29 different games. Ended up being about 5% of my game collection. So let's get started and see what's in the number 9 position for this past month, and that is Ohanami. Ohanami is such a neat little puzzly card game, and it is tiny. This game takes no space at all. It's a deck of cards, and the cards are numbered from 1 to 120, and there's beautiful artwork, and there's different numbers in different colors, and you're planting a garden. The goal of it's a card drafting game, so you'll start with 10 cards and you'll select 2 and pass the deck to the other player or to the next player, and then you'll plant these 2 cards in your garden, and you can have up to 3 gardens at a time. Then you'll take the cards that's been passed on to you and you'll pick the next 2 cards. The rule is that the cards that you add into your garden has to maintain numerical order. So if you have a 22 and then a 24, you can't put a 23 after that. It breaks the numerical order. You also can only add to the bottom or to the top of your garden. So if you have a 22, a 23, and then you add a 44, you've just blocked off a big section of potential numbers that you could have put in there. But you do have a total of 3 gardens, so maybe they'll fit better elsewhere. You do that until all 10 cards, or every players have played all 10 cards, and then the first round you score all the blue cards. So each blue cards are going to worth 3 points, and then you tally that up. Then you do where you deal 10 more cards to each player, and you do this again, and you add to this garden, and then the second round you're going to be scoring the blue and the green card, and then in the final round you're going to score the blue, the green, the gray cards, as well as tally up all of the pink cards and see how many points that's going to give you. It's such a neat puzzly game, very enjoyable, and this made it to my top 9 for the month of January. Now in number 8 position we have Calico. My sister came to visit after the new year, and she brought a couple of games that she had gotten for Christmas, as this one was one of them. So such a neat little game too. You have these tiles, and then you'll have 3 that'll turn up, and you have 3 different cats that have different rules, and basically you're building this quilt trying to maximize the number of points that you can get, and depending if you create a cluster that matches what this particular cat likes, whether it's pattern or colors and so on, then you can put a cat into that cluster because it appealed to them, and then they come and lay on your quilt, and you're gonna get more points for that. It's such a neat, so you're slowly building your board, putting these tiles in and trying to attract as many cats, I guess, as you can onto your quilt to score as high a score as you can. Very visually pleasing to look at this game. It looks great on the table. And that was Calico. So in number 7 position we have Ricochet Robot. Now Ricochet Robot is an older game, and I actually bought this one at the thrift store for like $2. I came across it and I was like, oh, I don't know, we'll try it out, see what it's like. I had heard nothing about it, and it's so cool. So in this game you have these different robots that are randomly started on the board, and these robots can move in a straight line, and they don't stop until they hit something. And then you can send them in any direction, not diagonal, but in any other directions, and they'll keep going until they hit something as well. So you have these robots on the map. The map comes with 4 different tiles, and they're double-sided, so the map can change every time. And then you'll flip a tile in the middle, and that tile will have a symbol. So in the example here we have a green symbol, so that means you got to send that robot into the location on the map that matches that symbol. You can move all the robots, and you're staring at this map trying to figure out how to puzzle it out and have this green robot make it so that they hit all the obstacles or other robots and make it into that space. So maybe you send it straight this way, and then you send it straight that way, and then you move the blue robot over here so that it'll hit there and then stop at the blue robot and then send it into this spot. It's so neat. Once you figure out how to get it in, then you say, okay, I can do it in 7 moves, and you flip the timer. And then all the other players have that amount of time to try and figure it out themselves as well. So cool. It will be a brain burner. Like, mostly the first time I played this, it took me such a long time to start having my brain figure this puzzle out, and it just couldn't think that way at first, it felt like. But the more I play it, the funner it becomes, and then the more you kind of started to see. And I mean, at one time I'm like looking and I'm staring, and I was like, hey, I can do it in 37 moves. It's ridiculous. So fun. Great game. And that's Ricochet Robot. Now, in number 6 position is Cartographer. So I got Cartographer just before Christmas, and this is a flip and write, and you're building a map. One thing I'll point out is I actually bought pens specifically for this game. So the first set is like the pens that have the 4 different colors, so you can kind of easily visually see the different areas on your map. And then I actually bought the set of friction pens, and those are kind of friction markers almost, but then you draw on there, and if kind of happens like, oh shoot, I was supposed to cover a rune, and you can easily erase it out and move it into another area of your map. So kind of is not quite so restricting, or you don't have like a map that's like, okay, I got to remember this isn't really there. So I found this really added to the gameplay. Now, Cartographer itself, so you have these cards, and the first, you play in 4 rounds. You're going to score A and B, then B and C, C and D, and then D and A. And each letter has a different category that you'll score. So maybe it's like you can score the forest if it's surrounding the mountain, or you'll score the water and the farmland if they're not touching each other, or different rules like that. And there's a lot of different cards, so it changes every time. And then you flip the card and it has a shape and the symbol that you can kind of fill it as. So this one could be like, hey, you can put forest in this shape or this shape and get a coin, and then the coin will give you bonus points. And you're filling out this map trying to maximize your points so that you can score as high as you can. It's very neat. It's a very pleasant game to play. If you haven't tried that one yet, I highly recommend it. Then in number 5 position is Kingdom Rush. Rift in Time. So this is actually the last game I have purchased so far, and I'm kind of doing the countdown, trying to hold on, and it's been well, a full month now since I've bought a game, and this was the last one. This, from what I understand, is based on an app game, Kingdom Rush, which I personally had never played, and it's a tower defense game. So you have this map, I guess, and then these tiles, and then you'll have these monsters that'll kind of make their way through down the path, and you're trying to keep them out of your area, your village. I'm not sure what we're protecting here. And you can put these towers that are going to attack in different ways. It's very neat, and then it's kind of like you can play the different scenarios, so the difficulty can ramp up. Although I found the first scenario to be difficult enough. We did end up managing to win, but just barely. And then you can upgrade your towers so that they hit harder, they hit more, and you know, like, so you're upgrading what you've got to make your defense even stronger. It's a very neat game, and I've got to get this one played again here. Now, in number 4 position, we have Tapestry. So I bought Tapestry a few months back, and I hadn't played it yet, so we got it to the table. It's a Stonemaier game that's a civilization game. Now, I've heard a bunch of stuff about people saying, no, oops, sorry, I'm moving the camera. I'm saying this isn't really a civilization game. And it is in the way that you have the different aspect, like science that you can upgrade, or army that you can upgrade. So it has that theme, definitely, but it has a unique spin on a civilization game. I'll agree with that. And I've enjoyed this one quite a bit. So you have your map, and you're collecting the resources, and there's 3 different type of resources that you can collect, and based on what you're wanting to do. You'll be spending some of that, and then you'll move along the development track for each science or the different ones, and then depending on where you land, what you can do there. And then if you collect bigger buildings, and you're adding those to your map as well, and you have the little house at the top of your board that you can add in there also, and different things will score differently. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed with this one, is like you can concentrate on a completely different thing than another player, and you end up kind of scoring in different ways, but still being in battle for top point scores. And you can kind of stay in an era as long as you want, for as long as you can do the different actions that you can do. And then it could be that, okay, well, I've used up all my resources, so I'm done, I'm ending my era, I'm moving on to the next stage, and then you're still in the previous era, so you're not necessarily going to end the game at the same time. But I found that very entertaining. And then you have the map in the middle as well, that you're kind of have the area control aspect going on there as well. Neat game. Definitely looking forward to playing this one again. And then in number 3 position, I have 5 Tribes. So I had heard of 5 Tribes a lot. It made everybody's top 100, top 50, or top 10 list so many times. So it's one that I had heard of quite a bit, but I've never come across and purchased it myself. So I bought this one just before Christmas. And everybody said, oh, it's a Mandela's mechanism to this game, and I had no idea what that meant, and got to play it, and it's so cool. So each tile starts off with 3 meeples on it, and they're all different colors. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick the tile you're going to start from, you're going to pick up all of the meeples, and then you're going to follow the path of where you want to go. The tile, in every space that you're going, you're going to leave one of the meeples behind. And then the space that you leave, you're going to make sure that where the meeple lands has a meeple of that same color, and that makes it a legal move. So when you land onto a tile, the color that you put there, you will pick up all the meeple matching that color. Now, if that takes all of those meeples, you actually also get control of that tile, and you can put one of your camels on there to indicate that you now own that tile. That tile is worth points at the end of the game as well. So then, and based on the meeple that you collect, the colored meeple you end up collecting, you'll be able to do different things. The white meeples and the yellow meeples, I believe, are worth points at the end of the game. The blue meeples allows you to kind of look at what blue space is surrounding, and then you can get gold from that. The green meeples allow you to buy cards from the market, and then having the different resources from the market will give you points at the end of the game. It's so neat, very pleasant to play, very unique to look at, and it's gorgeous, great table presence. One thing I will say about this is if you play with somebody who gets a lot of analysis paralysis, there's so much to consider when selecting which move you want to do with this one that you will feel it. And it would take them a long time to decide what they want to do. So might not be a great fit for everybody just for that, because it would make this game super long. We found ourselves getting caught up with that as well. But it's such a great, fun game. If that's not an issue for you, I strongly recommend you try this one if you haven't already. Then in number 2 position for the month of January is Chronicles of Crime 1900. So I'm a huge fan of whodunits. I like it in books, I like it in movies, I like it in TV series, and I love it in board games as well. And the Chronicles of Crime does it so well. The story, the way it develops is so neat. So you'll come across, and with this one I don't have my own picture because it's an app-driven game. So every time I play it, I have my phone busy playing, kind of controlling the game, so I never take a picture. But so you have the game on your phone, and then a murder happens, and then the story starts developing, and then they say, okay, something happened, you need to go at this location, and then you bring out the big location card, and in the corner there's a QR code. So you'll go there and you scan the QR codes, and it sends your character on site, and then they'll say, oh, this person and this person is here, and then you talk to the first person and you scan it, and then this particular one, the 1900, is your journalist, and your uncle is a police officer, and kind of so you're collaborating with each other, and then you come across crime that you're trying to solve. So you go on the site, then to talk to the individuals that is at that site, you scan that card. Now you're talking to that individual, and you can ask them about all different stuff like the victim. So while you have that individual on the screen and you scan the victim, they'll tell you what they know about the victim, or the murder weapons, or different things that you've come across, or maybe there's talk about a stolen jewelry and you can ask about that. And it's so neat how it all works together. This game is so cleverly designed, and I love playing it. So that was my number 2 position for the month of January. Then in number 1 position, I have Legend of Novice. When I was in high school, I used to love reading fantasy novels. And I mean, like the big, thick fantasy novels, and I would devour them. So I would read so many of them. And then you open it up, and the first thing you see is the map of the world that you're reading about. And then as you go through the story, you kind of come across these different characters. And you're traveling across this map, and you'll come across different things. And you'll get new equipment, new weapon. You'll improve and become stronger. And you'll come across bad guys that you have to defeat, or little monsters that you have to defeat. And then it's a whole adventure. And this game feels exactly like that in a board game, and it's amazing. So you have the big map that you're traveling from, you have the characters, and depending on who you are, what you can equip yourself. So a thief is not going to be able to put on a big clanky armor because he's sneaking around, for example. So if you come across a big clanky armor, you're not going to equip it, but you might keep it so that you can sell it next time you're in a city. And each location that you end up on will have a different things that kind of happens in that particular city. Then when you're traveling, you roll the traveling die and find out, did you come across treasure, or is an adventure card gets brought up, or was there an encounter and you end up having to battle a monster. And the goal is to increase your experience level to reach 25 experience and to defeat one of the big quest monsters. Such a neat game, really has that strong thematic feel of a fantasy novel, and I just love that about it. So this is a recap of all the games that made it for my top 9 for the month of January. Be sure to follow me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Didsbury and Area is playing all the games. I'm also on Instagram as boardgame_mama. And follow me on YouTube as Board Game Mama. And that's the name of my channel. So be sure to stay tuned and see what's going to make the top 9 for the month of February. So bye everybody.